So, jetzt kannst du so langsam zu mir. Aha. Okay. I am going to do the usual thing this evening. And guess what? I have a new camera lady. And I'm going to ask my camera lady, whose name is Birgit, is anyone on board yet? Or is no one on board yet? We might be a little early. Could be. Are there 3? Oh, isn't that fantastic? Are there any names? No? All right. For those of you who can see me, would you mind just writing your names on the chat box? That would be lovely. Yeah. Oh, no, camera lady. Who is it? No name? Okay, now write your names. I'd love to say hello and welcoming you because I have this in my hand for you. And I will not reveal it to you until you've written the names down.
Linda Saal.
Linda. Hello, Linda Saal. Linda, I know you and you know me from the time when I lived in the UAE. Hi, Linda. Okay, and who else is there?
Akos Andreas Farkas.
Oh, hello, Arcos. Hello, how
Hola.
are you? Hola. ¿Qué tal? ¿Cómo estás? We speak Spanish to each other. And who else?
Mika Giuliano is watching.
Oh, Mika. Hello, Mika. Hello, Mika. Hola, ¿qué tal? And who else? Okay, so we're now 5 or 6?
10.
10. Okay, I would like to welcome all of you. All of you by name and no name, it doesn't matter. But throughout the show, I am going to ask you all to ask a few questions because my new camera lady has to be working as well. She's not only going to take a film, she's going to let me know when there's a question. Okay, now I have this. Can you guess what this is? Well, should I really tell you? It's part of the recipe. Okay, now before I tell you, it's going to be a slight surprise. I'm going to put this down and I'm going to, first of all, shortly introduce myself. I'm your chef tonight. I'm your chef in your private home, of course, virtual. But if you wish, just grab a pen or your notebook and write down the recipe tonight. Very simple, absolutely delicious. And if you can have a cup of coffee with it, even better. Now, for those of you who would like to drink alcohol with it, you just dunk it into a little bit of rum or into a coffee liqueur. So I think you're ready now. So write all this down somehow. If not, for those of you who are interested in the recipe, just let me know and I will send you the recipe on your messenger. Okay, tonight we have a very special recipe. It's outside of my usual pattern. Tonight it's Moroccan. And Moroccan sweets are absolutely exquisite. And why? For a very simple reason. They use very little sugar, at least the very traditional pastry or traditional sweets. And tonight we're having a very traditional Moroccan sweet dish. Semi-sweet actually, and it's called mancha. Mancha is a coil. It's like a snail that you would then turn and keep turning and keep turning. That is actually been used for weddings, not amongst the general Moroccan population, but amongst the Berber Moroccan population. That was their wedding cake. Absolutely exquisite. And if you're asking me, do we have any similarities with any other cakes? Yes, we do. It's with the baklava. But it's not like baklava because it does not have the syrupy or glucose or the sweet syrup on top. Absolutely not. Very little sugar. In fact, the traditional ma'ancha or this Moroccan wedding cake has did not use sugar. At the time when they first started doing this, they used honey. Very little of it because their honey was also, their flavor went towards a stronger or more intensive taste. So today's ma'ancha or Berber wedding cake is appreciated right across the globe, and especially amongst Moroccans who are from all backgrounds, meaning from the Jewish background, Christian background, Muslim background, the Berbers. They all absolutely love it, and they all grow up with this particular cake. Okay, so then let me just start very shortly. My name is Alexandra, and as you've probably noticed, I am not in my kitchen. I am not in my garden. I am about 2.5 hours south of Brandenburg. I'm in Leipzig. So for those of you who know Germany, I'm in Leipzig. It's about an hour or 3/4 of an hour north of Dresden, just to give you an idea. And I'm at my friend's house who is now filming, and her name is Birgit. All right, so let's get started. Now, I started with this, right? This is called filo. Let me just show you. It's actually Turkish filo. Now, for those of you who are in Italy, for those of you who are in Germany, or for those of you who are in Italy or anywhere around the world, you can either, I know it's curled up, here we go. You can actually see it this way. This is the package of filo, and filo means nothing else. It's flour and water and rolled into sheets. And let me show you. I'm going to unroll it. And there you go. See this? It's a roll with individual sheets. And this is what we're going to be doing. We're going to be inserting our filling in here, roll it up, and then coil it on this platter here, and then bake it. So I'm going to roll it up again because we're going to be starting with our filling. Okay, there we go. So our filling is what many Europeans would say, aha, it's similar to marzipan. Indeed it is. In fact, the whole concept of our European or German version or Austrian version of marzipan, we have refined it to our taste. It does not mean that what I'm going to be doing tonight is not refined. It's actually extremely delectable, very, very, very delicious. And yes, it's similar to marzipan, not as heavy. There's a crunch and not very sweet. So it's absolutely lovely and easy to make. Shall we start? Shall we start? Okay, there we go. So you can now write down, here we have almond meal, but you can see that what I did, I took almonds and I crushed them in the coffee grinder, and I still have some pieces all over. This is what's important. That will give you the crunch and the flavor. And why? Very simple reason. I have decided to dry roast my almonds, but I dry roast them intensively. This is in order to enhance the flavor of the filling. So when you buy your almonds, your whole almonds, just place them on a frying pan without oil. It's called a dry toasting or dry roasting. And roast them until you smell the smell of the almonds, and keep moving the almonds until they have reached the flavor or the intensive fragrance of toasted or roasted almonds. You allow them to cool, and it's about an hour or half an hour. I actually cooled them for 1 hour just to make sure. And what I did, I ground them in the coffee grinder to this consistency here. Now, if you have no time to do all this, you can buy anywhere ground almond or almond meal. Almond meal is very close to the marzipan in Europe. This one here is coarse, and I prefer the coarse version. Okay, so we're going to now have 200 grams of whole almonds which have been ground. In they go into the bowl. And what we're going to be adding is a 1/4 cup of icing sugar, which is not very much considering the amount of almonds that we have here. So 1/4 cup. You take the imperial cup, just make sure that you use that. And if you want it in grams, let me know. I'm going to send it to you on your messenger. Okay, so I'm just going to pour a 1/4 cup. There we go. A 1/4 cup of powdered sugar or icing sugar. There we go. And if you don't have icing sugar in the area where you live, all you could do is you could take the normal caster sugar, your normal sugar that you would use for your tea or coffee or cake, and you can grind your own sugar in your coffee grinder or any grinder that you have at home until it's the consistency of of powdered sugar. Now, if you are, by any chance, you're not allowed to have any sugar for health reasons, moral reasons, or any reason at all, I would replace it the way I do it for myself at home with erythrit. Have a look at erythrit sugar. Erythrit sugar is a sugar that has been fermented on the basis of maize or corn. That's predominantly used in the United States of America, Canada, and some other areas. I believe it's also in the Gulf area. Here in Germany, it's predominantly grape or fermented grape, and it's not absorbed by the body, and it's still healthy. So you have your option, either the sugar that I have just mentioned, your alternative sugar, erythrit, or you use your conventional powdered sugar, which is what I'm going to be doing tonight. Okay, there we go. I'm going to now pour it in. There we go. 1/4 cup. And I'm going to add 1/3 cup, here 1/3 cup of your regular sugar, which is your regular white sugar. And again, you don't have to use the white sugar. You can replace this sugar with the erythrit sugar, or any other alternative sugar that you would prefer, predominantly crystallized, not liquid, please, because that will not work for this particular recipe. All right, so we have here the white caster sugar, your regular standard sugar that you would use for your cakes. And if you have questions concerning if you want to use brown sugar, yes, you can use brown sugar as well. But don't forget, brown sugar, it's been simply the white sugar converted and added molasses. But if you're using organic, then you're on your way to consuming a much healthier, although sugar is not healthy, but a healthier. Okay, so here we go. We have the white sugar, 1/3 cup. And what else do we need? We're going to need butter. About a half a cup of melted butter. So here we have half a cup, and I'm going to pour the butter into the half cup. There we go. We have half a cup. I melted it before, and if you can, if you have the possibility, use as much organic as you can. Organic products and organic ingredients, if it's possible. If it's not possible, you try your best, and it will be tasty anyways. So we've just poured in the melted butter, and now we're going to be going over to the cinnamon. What we need, now speaking of cinnamon, I have, for those of you who know me, I have spoken very often about the cinnamon, the background, the history. Today, I'm not going to do that, but I will give you just an idea. If you can, check your cinnamon bottle, as long as it says Ceylon. If it doesn't say Ceylon, it's most likely cassia, which is the type, it's very similar. It is the cinnamon, of course. It's the bark, as always, but it is a different type of cinnamon, meaning it's the type that you will not consume, you don't want to consume too much of it. You don't want to experience diarrhea or similar. The Ceylon cinnamon, but is absolutely no problem at all. You take, in this case here, Ceylon, spelled Ceylon. And I think there's a question according to my camera lady.
Sorry.
Yes, it's perfect.
Somebody's asking, can you replace the butter?
Yes. Yes, you can. The butter can be replaced with coconut butter. It can be replaced with a vegan butter. I don't use margarine, but I know that many do use margarine. And if you're an advocate of margarine, then you use margarine. At home, we use coconut butter. Absolutely. It's ice cold from the freezer, and I put it in there. And then I just mix it with my hands. Yes. I hope I answered your question. If I didn't answer the question, let me know. All right. Any other questions? No? All right. So we shall then put in 2 teaspoons of cinnamon. 1 cinnamon Ceylon, and not cassia. It's too strong. Definitely make sure that you don't use cassia. I think I will bring this a little closer to the camera. There we go, 2 teaspoons. Okay, and then we're going to go on to our, here we go, 1 tablespoon, yes. Okay, now what we're going to do is what actually gives the character is not only the cinnamon, not only the butter, the sugar, and the almond. Guess what? I'm going to show you. It's the orange blossom water. And this is what gives it that Moroccan or that Oriental and that mysterious, beautiful fragrance. It's something that is not only used for perfume or sprayed in the rooms. It's used in desserts and savory dishes as well, in combination with nuts, and today with almonds. Absolutely exquisite. And I wish you could smell it. And for those of you who are wondering where can you get or buy orange blossom water, you can buy them, if nothing else, if you don't find them in an Arabic store or in an Asian store or in a Persian store or Turkish store, then you can order them through Amazon, of course. But not everyone is an advocate of Amazon, but it is an alternative method of purchasing exotic items that you would perhaps not find in your local Asian or Arabic, Turkish, Persian store. However, this here, I wish I could just explain this. If you've ever smelled orange blossoms, this is more intensive, far more intensive. It's absolutely exquisite. And if you can, if it's possible, buy the organic type. I had a difficult time buying the organic, so I didn't buy the organic. It was very difficult to get. I was able to get it in the past. Let's see if in a couple of months I'm going to be able to get the organic version. As far as I know, this one here, if I'm not mistaken, comes from Lebanon. Okay, but it's good, absolutely exquisite. Okay, so here we go. In the recipe, they call for 1 teaspoon. Start with 1 teaspoon if you're not used to it. Smell it first, and if you love it, and if you think, it could be good, 1 teaspoon. I like 2 teaspoons. All right, it really gives that mysterious Oriental version of your dessert. Really exquisite, especially when you're drinking it with coffee. Ooh la la. Okay, so here we go. 1 teaspoon. 1, and I'm going to add another 1. There we go. Okay, 2 teaspoons of orange blossom water. And I'm going to mix it. I'm just going to make sure now that I have everything. Yes, I do. Orange, cinnamon, and the nuts. Yes, the sugar, cassia sugar. All right. Okay, then let me just mix this. There we go. And you're going to mix it until you have a paste. And if for whatever reason it does not turn out to be a sticky paste, such as what I have here in my hand, if it's not sticky, then you simply add a little more of the fat, either your coconut fat or your vegan butter or your regular butter. It's just a question of balancing. And here we go. And especially for those of you who are going to be using coconut butter, you may want to add a little more of the almond flour, or actually called almond meal, which you can buy at the store as a meal, which means as a flour, which I would not do. Becomes rancid very quickly. So preferably is for you to actually grind your own almonds into almond flour or almond meal. Okay, so here we go. This is a very modern way of mixing. I used a spoon. Now, for those of you who know, I use my hands to mix my food. It's been over 10 years now that I've been cooking Oriental and especially food or dishes from the Gulf area. And they use their hands, and there is a specific reason for it. There is a holistic connection between your thoughts, your emotional state, and transfer to your hands and to the food, which means the hands also receive the energy. For those of you who work with energy like I do, I work a lot with quantum energy for healing purposes. I use my hands. There is a direct transfer of energy from the head through the hands to the food, from the food to the hands. And I will tell you also part 2 to all this. So I'm going to mix it with my hands. And it's just a lovely, lovely, lovely feeling. And you wonder sometimes, why do guests or your family members claim that your food is just so exquisite and so wonderful, or it's so wonderful to eat at her place or his place? Well, there's often a reason for it. It's usually people who love cooking, who enjoy cooking, and have good energies. Now, for those of us who have good energies, also we have bad energies, and those are the days when we should not be cooking. Definitely not. And then just wait it out until you're happy and you cook. Okay, see, it's actually sticking together well. And I could use a little more meal if I really want to. If not, I can place this for a half an hour or 40 minutes into the refrigerator and wait until I roll it into the phyllo or into the sheets or the flour sheets or phyllo sheets. They're actually called phyllo sheets. So this is what we're going to be filling our sheets with. I'm just going to clean my hands. In the meantime, I will ask Birgit to show you what I have on my table. And I'm going to just explain to you. She's going to show you the almonds that I have on the table. And those are the batch of almonds. I bought 1 kilo. And from that 1 kilo, I use it for many, many, many recipes. And today we're using it for the ma'ancha wedding cake. And you will also see that I'm using the cassia. Sorry, not cassia. I have to correct myself. In this particular case, it's Ceylon. Ceylon cinnamon, which breaks very easily. And it's in sheets. Do you see it? It's rolled sheets. And they're very easy to break. In contrast to the cassia. The cassia looks very similar to this, but you cannot break it as easily. It's hard to break. This is still Ceylon, and you can see again, it breaks easily. It's beautifully rolled, and the fragrance is very strong. They're all organic. I bought them again through Amazon. They're organic from Sri Lanka. Now, you see that I have roses, and there's a reason for it. Oops, sorry. I'm just going to clean my hands again. All right, I'll be right back. I'm just going to rinse my hands. I'll be right back. All right, I am back. And we're going to be here. I was going to tell you the story about the roses. Roses, you can use them to decorate, or you can actually fuse them into your pastry. In this case today, we're not going to fuse them in because we're using orange blossom, but we are going to be using orange buds for decorative purposes. And also mint, very important in the food culture for Moroccan, as well as for other Arabic countries and for the Gulf area. But in this case, we're dealing with Morocco today. And mint is an asset in absolutely everywhere, every dish. Okay, what we're going to do now, and I'm going to ask Birgit to do a close-up here. I think I'm going to have to do it this way. So we're going to unroll this. This is a roll that is quite long, which is beautiful, 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 beautiful. There we go. Okay. What we're going to do is simply use the melted butter. I know that most recipes do not call for this, but it tastes so much better if you just ever so lightly butter the phyllo sheet with a little bit of melted butter. Just very little. There we go. Absolutely exquisite. And we put it back. And we're going to take part of the mixture here. And here we go. And we put very, very little. There's not much. You don't have to put very much into it. You just keep working at it. You can make them large. You can make them small. You can make them very narrow or very wide. Although it's not recommended to make them any larger than this. Moroccans appreciate their sweets, but they don't want large pieces. So here we go. See, I'm going to roll it. Now I'm folding the sheet forward and I'm going to carefully roll it. There we go. And roll it and roll it and keep rolling, keep rolling, keep rolling. And it sticks because of the butter. And then the next trick is that you're going to actually push it in like a harmonica. Push it in and push it in again. This is to be able to curve this particular phyllo sheet. So there we go, without breaking. Perfect. And what we're going to do is butter this particular cake sheet or the platter, because we're going to place it into the oven later on. There we go. And we start in the center. So here we go. Because I pushed it in, it's so much easier and it will hopefully not break. Sometimes it breaks and it doesn't matter. You just push it in. So you curl it in. There we go, it's the first little break. That's all right. Here we just curve it in and curve it in. And you press it downwards and it will stay like this. And what we're going to do is the same thing with our next sheet. There we go, we're going to butter it. And have any of you been to Morocco? Or any of you have ever tasted ma'ancha before? I'm sure you did. If you've been to Morocco, most likely you did. Okay, are there any other names whom I could say hello to? No? Okay, there we go. So we're going to keep rolling. We're going to keep adding and keep pressing. And now for those of you who love the chocolate, oh, this is perfect. Just 1 minute. I think the camera lady has a question. Okay. Okay, it's actually working now. We had just a slight technical question here and we managed, because we have new equipment. We have a new camera, we have a new gimbal, and a new camera lady. Isn't that exciting? Okay. So what we have here, so if there are any questions, keep asking questions. I have the camera lady who can actually read the questions for me. Okay, again, I'm going to roll it over. Oh, what I was going to say, for those of you who absolutely love chocolate. Now, if you're going to evolve slightly beyond the Moroccan traditional ma'ancha Berber cake, you can add chocolate shaving, chocolate pieces. Why not? Or even just a little bit of coffee powder, or if you want, it's chocolate already with coffee flavor and you shave them or you grate them or you have pieces of them and you roll it with it. Absolutely delicious. That I can promise you. Okay, so we're going to roll again, all right? And we'll keep on doing the same thing 4 or 5 times until we have the size that we need. Okay, there we go again. And I'm going to push it in so that I'm going to be able to actually turn it. There we go.
Sweetie, Linda Saal is missing you.
Oh, Linda, I miss you too. Yeah, I know. And for those of you who don't know, Linda Saal and I, we actually, as I was in Abu Dhabi in the United Arab Emirates for about 5 years. 5 years, and every year thereafter visiting the UAE because I wrote a second book, the first cookbook. And of course I knew Linda. And Linda is now without many expats who used to be with her. But Linda, you know one thing, that when you come to Germany, you can stay with us or you can stay with me. And I can come and visit you in the UAE, and I will try to come this year if things work out positive. For the time being, it's slightly challenging to fly into the UAE, but we will see each other. I hope that by next year, early next year, things will work out better. So here we go again. We're going to butter it very quickly, just ever so slightly. And then for those of you who don't know, I lived in the UAE as my camera lady also. We all had a job there. We worked for private companies, or we worked for the German embassy. In my case, in other words, my husband worked there. I was cooking. I was running my Canadian cheesecake company in Berlin from Abu Dhabi. Okay, so we're going to continue adding more of this before I talk too much. So this is going to be another roll. And you're going to, by the way, for those of you who would like to impress your guests, you can make these cakes small, or you can quadruple the size, either a 20-inch size or 20 centimeters or 30 centimeters or 60. And if you have a large American oven, then you can go a little larger. For those of you who are listening in from the UAE, you have large ovens. In Europe, or at least here in Germany and in Italy, you have smaller ovens. So you're going to stay with a 30 centimeter cake platter. So there we go. We're going to.
Nilufer is saying hi. She's watching.
Who?
Nilufer.
Oh, hi, Nilufer.
Oh, hi. I think I just did something wrong.
Okay,
Excuse me.
Just wait. No, okay, just a second. We're just going to change it here. Okay, we'll have to just hold on. We're going to change a few things here. All right, there we go. I think we just fixed something. Okay, we were just in reverse. Okay, there we go. So we're going to add, and we're going to make the size a little larger than this for tonight. Hi, Nilufer. I'm glad you're on board. Nilufer just jumped in, or she was there before?
She was there before.
All right, okay, so you know what we're doing, right, Nilufer? Okay, it's called mancha. I think you will love this too, Nilufer. Okay, now, again, we're going to butcher this very quickly, otherwise you will be bored. But you can imagine that this is what we then continue to make it larger. And we can add, and we can make it thicker too, see? I'm going to just show you. We can make it a little thicker and press it. There we go.
Ingrid Maria Philipson
hello.
sends greetings from Houston.
Hello, Ingrid. Yes, I know you. We know each other through our coaching. We had the same coach teacher, or we had. It was Martin Sage. And by the way, for those of you who don't know who Nilufer is, make sure to check out. She's my business coach. Absolutely lovely person. She has her own program running now, also on Bridges of Light. So just make sure that you go and listen to her as well. She's got awesome business lady here, business coach. All right, okay. So there we go. Here I'm going to increase the size again of this coil. I'm just going to push it in. Now you can imagine that in Morocco, it's not necessarily the women at home who will do it, but it's a team, especially when they're making large numbers of these ma'ancha cakes. So here we go again. We'll
There's one more question. Is it possible to add dried berries? Linda is asking.
Oh, dried berries. Yes. Linda, if you're going to be adding dried berries, absolutely. Can you just make sure that when you have your dried berries, they're crushed and they're in very, very small pieces, such as, go small, go really, really small. Maybe this size, half of this size. Go really, really small. Just crush them the way I'm crushing it now. Like this. This is just to make sure that it's not going to be, that the berries will not be domineering. What's domineering here is either the berry, so it's going to be competition, the almond and the orange blossom. But if you are going to be adding berries, what you could do is add, not necessarily the orange blossom, I would add rose water, or omit both. But rose water should be in there, but in small quantities, maybe half a teaspoon, and then add your berries. That's absolutely fantastic. Or how about barberries, or as they call them in Persia or in Iran and in Pakistan, zereshk. Barberries are very small berries, the same size that I just showed you before, or something here, like this. Maybe that will show you, that will indicate the size of the barberries. Barberries can be compared, for example, to cranberries, but they're not the same. They're actually, in my opinion, the best zereshk or barberries come from Persia. But yes, absolutely, you can use barberries, by the way, inside the ma'ancha. Why not? If you're doing it with the barberries, you can absolutely add rose water. That it works so well. It's very Persian. Then you're actually fusing into Moroccan Persian wedding cake or ma'ancha. Thank you, camera lady. You're awesome. That was her suggestion. which I think is absolutely fantastic. Anyone else with any questions?
No, I think it's Gisela. She's saying hi from Balaton area.
Oh, Gisela. For those of you who do not know, oh my God. Gisela, we used to be together in the United Arab Emirates. She lives in Hungary and she was the president of the German ladies group. Without Gisela, nothing worked. And I miss you, Gisela. I really, really do. We miss you absolutely everywhere. You're absolutely great president for our German ladies group. And through the German ladies group is that I learned to give workshops, live workshops in the United Arab Emirates. So we're going to keep rolling and I'll do one more roll. So we're going to push this in again. There we go. Here we go. There, we just push it in. And as you can see, I broke it. Doesn't matter. We just flip it over and you join. You join the other coil, the other end of the coil. And here we go. So this is one size. This is for maybe 5 or 7 guests. And why 5 and 7 guests? Very simple. We're not going to eat the entire. We're not going to cut it like a cake. I will show you how it's cut. Cut in a very, very different way. All right, the rest of the filo cannot be frozen. It should be used within the next 2 days, actually by tomorrow. And what I am going to do later is I'm just going to increase the size and I'm going to also use this for savory, meaning with minced meat, with lots of hot pepper and lots of spices, roll them up and then fry them on the pan or bake them in the oven. So if you have leftovers, you can use it. Okay, so I'm going to just put this to the side and just wipe my hands clean, I hope. So what we can do here are 2 things. We have still some butter left. Now, for those of you who want a little more flavor, the fat carries the flavor, just brush it with very little butter on top because you already have butter. We already lined every sheet with butter, and just to make sure, you want to bring these broken pieces, which is normal for filo, absolutely normal, inside. However, and now we have 2 egg yolks. These 2 egg yolks, either 1 or 2 will do. I have 2 small ones, which makes 1 large. For your recipe, you need 1 large egg yolk. And we're going to just brush the egg yolk here on top of the filo. This will actually act as a glue, and it will enhance the glossiness of this particular cake. It makes it look bistro style. In other words, it works perfectly well for all bistros. It's very, very easy, very quickly to make. And it always works when you brush your cake with egg yolk. So the glossiness will come and you can impress your guests and even impress yourself, actually. So we're going to brush a lot of it. The more, the merrier. Without the egg white, just make sure you have no egg white. You don't want it fried egg here on your cake. Start there. And we're not done yet, by the way. We're definitely not done yet. Okay, now I just have to make sure that creases also have enough and sufficient egg yolk. Just have to make sure that this is glued. There we go. Okay, I think we have enough now. And I'm going to put this to the side. But we're not done yet. Because what's going to happen is very, very simple. You have the choice, because we have a choice of actually placing it into the refrigerator. If you're not able to bake it right away, you can actually leave it in the refrigerator for half an hour or 1 hour. And then bake it at 180 or 180 Celsius. At some of it, it's actually 30 minutes. What I have noticed is that here in Germany, it's not 30 minutes at 180. It's about 20 minutes, 15, 20 minutes. It goes very quickly. In the United Arab Emirates, I actually baked it for 30 minutes at 180. So it depends on the calibration of your oven. So make sure that you absolutely see, if you see it's nice and crispy and amber in color, or medium beige or amber in color, then it's done. It goes very, very quickly. All right, so this is how it will go into the oven. However, I have a surprise for you. I'm going to just clean the table. There we go. Here comes the surprise. It's magic. It's real magic. Are you ready for this? Okay. Ta-da! I baked it for 20 minutes here in Germany. I'm going to slide it off just so that you can see. This is how it comes out of the oven. And I have the coil that you can see. Now, but it's not done yet at all. It was not finished because Moroccans, as in the Gulf area, in the Arabic area, or anywhere else, we love to decorate. Has to be presentable. And by the way, if you don't know what to give to someone, and you know that that particular person is allowed to have sweets or alternative sugar, perfect gift. You buy yourself a beautiful box, or you wrap it and you carry it. Make sure you have a plate underneath. The plate could also be part of the gift. This is so beautiful. You can give this a gift any time of the year. Christmas, New Year, birthday, anytime. It could be Ramadan time, absolutely lovely. For those of you who don't want to eat baklava, because it's extremely sweet, although I love baklava, but it's actually, it's dipped, it's so syrupy and very, very sweet. And I don't have the alternative for the syrup yet. But Moroccans do not like it. They like it the way it is, as is right now, plus the decoration. I talked about before I decorate, about the importance of touching your food, feeling your food, making sure they can smell your food, you can hear it even crackling. There is, as I said before, a direct connection between you, whatever it is. It could be the brain, it could be the emotional side, but it's between you and the food. And you can feel into it. Is this mine? Is this good? Is this what I like? Of course you like it. And if you don't like it, that's a message. Then it's not for you. Your body does not want it. It's a direct connection where you don't have to oblige yourself to eat it. It's the same thing when you're invited for dinner and you say to yourself, oh my God. It's not because you don't like it from the past. You feel, I can't eat it. I don't know why, but I would normally eat the sandwich as I have in the past. But here, tonight, dinner time, I can't eat it. That's the message of your body. If you listen to your body's messages or intuition, you'll see that for those of you who have been challenged with weight issues, it's going to be disappearing very quickly. You will notice the weight loss very quickly because you're suddenly listening to what you're eating or what the food is actually telling you. It doesn't mean that you're not eating. You're not on a diet. That's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is that touch it, feel the signals, stop. And if it means you're invited and you're not eating it, don't eat it. There is a very elegant way of saying, no, I can't eat it. I'm not hungry right now. Can I have an alternative meal or dish or a fruit or a vegetable? But feel into it. There's a direct connection, and especially if you're exercising. If you don't feel the first time, just practice. Just practice it for good 3, 4, 5 weeks. You will notice in the first week that it will work for you. And it's a lovely way of communicating with your food. We are on a holistic station, and I know that all of you have understood what I've said. Okay, so here we go. I'm going to decorate it. How about? Okay.
Alexandra, we have some wows and yummies.
Wows and yummies. I love the wows and I love the yummies. Okay, here's the first yummy. I'm going to hold this and you're going to see the upside down version. You see that it's coiled. And the fragrance is just wonderful. You have a combination of almond, cinnamon, and orange blossom. Absolutely exquisite. For those of you who love it. I'm going to now bring it back to its original position here. You see the glossiness through the egg yolk. Very important. It's part of the aesthetics. I'm going to place it down. And now we're going to pretend that this is the area that you would like to decorate it. If you're decorating it for an event at home, for example, or for yourself, for your guests, for your partner, for your friends, you can use your table as your centerpiece. You don't need a plate. And you will see that it's going to work out fine. I have here ground up caster sugar or powdered sugar or icing sugar. And I'm going to do it the bistro style. All right, so let's just have it right on top of your cake. And if the table were black, then you would see the sugar, but it doesn't matter. Here we go. And more of the icing sugar around it, just to give it a story. Just to give it a story. Now, what I'm going to do is add a little bit of cinnamon into my colander or sieve, just to give it a bit of a contrast outside. So here we go. This is going to just a contrast, just a little bit, just to give the story. That's one way of doing it. And here comes the classical way of decorating your ma'ancha. You pinch the cinnamon, and you just rub your two fingers, the thumb and your index fingers, and just sprinkle a line, a straight line if possible. There we go, one line. And we'll have another line going like a cross. Very traditional, very Moroccan. And the fact that we have more cinnamon, it's just lovely. The fragrance is just, I'm already salivating here. Okay, so a little more, just a little more. Another one, there we go, see? It's quasi a straight line. We decorated it. And we have one more line to go. You don't have to, but if you want to, sure. Very traditional Moroccan or Berber style. Berber, if for those of you who want to look into the meaning, they are equivalent or not the same, but very similar to Bedouins in the Gulf area, for example, or the Bedouins in Persia or Iran today. Now, if you want to just give it another story, you can have, if you have orange blossoms, sure, please use orange blossom. I'm having a lot of trouble finding fresh orange blossoms, but if you happen to have them in Abu Dhabi, you can order them. If you're very lucky, I used to, at Lulu, if you're in Abu Dhabi or in Dubai. If you're anywhere else around the world and you know you can get orange blossoms, get the orange blossoms. Otherwise, I suggest, which is what I'm going to do now, is to use the rosebuds. I'm going to use the rosebuds here. I'm just going to drop them around the here, just around the cake. Just around a bit. And I'm going to take a few and actually press them between my fingers and drop them on the cake. There, one, and another one. There we go. Just a little more if you want. You can enhance it into the center. In the center, I mean. Here we go with another one. It's a question of choice. You can also have far less powdered sugar on top. And just to show that it's made from out of cinnamon, you can sprinkle just on top. Drop a few of the cinnamon sticks. This is one way of doing it. This is just an example. You can do it any way you wish. This is, and I promised also that I'm going to show you how to cut it. Okay, I hope my hands are clean. I'm just going to make sure I'm going to wipe my hands here. Okay. There we go. Now, I'm going to grab a knife. You see where the coil ended. This is where the coil keeps going towards the inside, and the coil ended here. So what you could do is just gently pry into it. Just don't cut, just pry, and you cut a small piece away from it. So you now have your small piece of ma'ancha. Beautiful, beautiful piece, and look at the inside. Very similar to the very traditional Nuremberg or Germany. When they first started to make marzipan or produce marzipan, they copied the recipe from Syria, from the Yemen area, and from other countries surrounded, but predominantly from Yemen and Syria. So this is very, very, very traditional. Tastes absolutely beautiful. And by the way, you're not going to be eating with the roses, not necessarily, unless you're into it. The roses are more there for decorative purposes. So that piece is what the average person would perhaps eat one or two, but the ma'ancha piece is not eaten alone. It's either drunk with Moroccan tea, black tea, and with green mixed with a little bit of mint. Ooh. Well, I'm going to do it slightly different, although they drink it also with Turkish coffee. Another, I have to add this, which I forgot to add, is the sprig of mint has to be on the cake as well. Indicative Moroccan. And now, here comes the surprise, a second surprise. In order for you to enjoy your Moroccan your Moroccan ma'ancha cake, as I said before, tea, or if you want water, sure, or your Turkish coffee. Here, since I'm in Leipzig, I did not bring my Moroccan cup, but it's very similar. And I'm going to pour this. It's mixed with cardamom. Absolutely delicious. I love it that way. Okay, so here we go. We're going to pour a little bit of the Turkish coffee. Not much, just a little. And guess what? You can eat it together, and you can also dunk the ma'ancha into the coffee. Absolutely exquisite. I'm not going to bite into it, otherwise it'll be all over my mouth and I can't talk anymore. But this is the combination of these two. It's heaven. Absolutely heaven. You don't need a meal anymore. You can actually sit on your balcony or outside or anywhere you want and enjoy it. On the other hand, I'm just going to put this down. No, I don't have to put it down. I can hold it. Love the fragrance. Love to eat it. We are going through very interesting times. I'm going to put it positive. Many of us are alone at home, and if we're not alone, we are with someone, but we still like to enjoy and to share our food with others. Let's do it. And if it means that we're going to do it online, as in you calling your cousin, your friend, your husband, your wife, your children, anyone, call them up and have a Zoom meeting, have them all make this recipe and enjoy it simultaneously. You can make a rendezvous via Zoom, bake it together, and enjoy it together. This is the way to keep on actually intensifying your friendship, your network, and the need. In fact, it's a need now. This is really not a choice. It's the need to be in contact with everyone around you, whom you cherish, whom you think is important to you. Yes, you don't have to call them all the time. You can share the food in a very different way, but you all taste the same product. You may taste it differently. You can share the experience. Do that. I strongly recommend it if you can. And if you're invited and in your area you're allowed to, or you're permitted by the government to visit your friends or your family members, or go to work, this is one way of sharing part of you with others. We need to exchange our energies. We are no longer in the old energies. We are no longer. It's absolutely finished. It's vital that we are no longer alone. And if we are nevertheless alone, share it online. There is no longer a choice. And remember that. It is very, very important. All right, here's the coffee. And here is the ma'ancha cake. I'm going to put it down. And what I am going to do now is I'm going to slowly say goodbye. But before I say goodbye, I would like you to meet my camera lady. And we're going to try, both of us, to actually join you. We hope that we succeed, because we're not going to be able to see ourselves, but we're going to more or less guess the distance. Once again, I'd like to thank you all for joining me and for sharing your time with me and being on board. Absolutely enjoyed cooking for you in your kitchen. And next week, there will be the next surprise. Okay, and thank you again. But don't go away, because I still want to present Brigitte. All right. Bye, everyone. Here. Are we on? I hope we're on. Oh, yes, exactly. Now we're here. Bye, everyone. And thank you so much for coming. This is Birgit. Bye.
Bye.
Thank you. Okay.
Take care.